Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Video Game Storytime with Sky Fellowship. And episode 1 is probably something that, well, I know what I'm about to say is going to sound silly because, of course, episode 1's not going to happen again. This might be a temporary thing, calling these episodes and giving them a name. But for this one, I knew it was going to be the first video I was putting up. And I also know that it's going to have a name, which the name you'll have already seen, but it's How Video Games Saved My Life, which, not clickbait or anything, there is a lot to go into why Ocarina of Time was so important to me, and why it really did save my life, and this is going to be a video that has a lot of trauma in it, a lot of, the trigger warnings essentially. If you don't want to hear about how someone nearly died when they were 11 years old, then this is not the video for you. I'm going to be going into that. I'm going to be explaining. I won't try to go too graphic, but I'm going to be explaining some stuff as to what it's all about. I'm trying to avoid anything here because obviously this is still the time of you can decide if you want to bounce from this video and there's no hard feelings. I'm basically, though, going to try to tell a story, try to actually explain everything, kind of in a how it happened moment, because obviously there's not much point in jumping to the end or anything. And I'm just going to basically be walking around playing the opening act of the game. It's, for those who do potentially care about spoilers, I will be probably discussing the entirety of the game, so it's also going to be a very spoiler-filled video as well. But for the most part, I'm just going to be playing the opening area, stumbling around while I try to actually explain this. So, as much as I know to start at the beginning, because this is a real life thing, it's like, what is technically the beginning? Do I start with when I first played Ocarina? Or do I start with why Zelda meant something to me in the first place? And it's trying to gather how much context I actually need to give and how much you want to actually sit through. But I think I am going to go back to much younger. This game came out basically when I was like 10, turning 11. It was pretty much out just after I turned 11. And I'm going to go further back to what Zelda meant to me, starting with A Link to the Past, because I was undiagnosed autistic. I eventually got diagnosed at 13 as a result of what I'm going to tell you about here. Kind of got that ball rolling. But at 5 years old, no one knew I was autistic. All I knew was I absolutely loved Zelda: A Link to the Past. I played it all the time on repeat. I watched the same movies on repeat. I eventually got Link's Awakening on the Game Boy and played it so much that my mother actually sold the game because she was just that kind of person. Most of this video is not going to be about family trauma or anything, but at the same time I genuinely do not like my family. They're not great people, but I'm not going to be trying to go too much into that because firstly I don't want to get sued or anything because all of them are still alive, but at the same time, again, not everything is about them, and this one definitely isn't. So I really was obsessed with Zelda. It helped me through a lot of difficult times, a lot of problems, a lot of issues in life, and then Ocarina of Time came out and I knew nothing about it. I was surprised with it. Just literally someone went bought it and was like, oh, you know Zelda that you're obsessed with as a kid? Like, here you go, bam. And obviously I was still a kid at the time as well. So I started to play it and did the first dungeon, the Deku Tree, which I'll probably actually get all of that beat by the time I'm done this video. Then Dodongo, and then Jabu Jabu, the third one. And in amongst playing the game and going to school, where I was in a new school with new people and didn't particularly like anyone, didn't really have a new friend group set up at that time, and sadly already had new bully groups set up on top of the old bullies that followed from the last school. It's almost again as if I was undiagnosed autistic or something. So Jabu Jabu, that was pretty much where I'd got up to. And one of the last days of school, before break, I can't even remember what break, I just know it was like a term break, a semester break or something. I got up to there and then had my whatever vacation it was, and just pretty much before starting the vacation, I'd managed to get up to the Forest Temple. That was pretty much the last thing that I think I'd managed to do. I'd basically hit Adult Link. For anyone who knows the game, I'd got the hook shot and I'd hit the Forest Temple. And then going back to school, I realised I'd forgot to do a piece of homework. And I was so busy preoccupied with that apparently I didn't notice a car coming. And a car hit me going about 40 miles an hour, judging by the skid marks that the car left in a school zone that didn't have speed bumps. And loads of kids got hit there. Some of them died. I'm one of the lucky few. I was told by the doctor that I probably should have died. Seriously, it was that close. And by some miracle, I managed to survive. And when you get hit by a car going 40 miles an hour and you're an 11-year-old child, it does some stuff. So I will go through most of the damage here. I could barely walk for weeks. I shattered my right collarbone and dislocated my shoulder. The bone was shattered in 7 places, and they had to reset the dislocation whilst it being shattered, and no matter how much morphine they'd give me, it didn't actually do a damn thing. So I felt all the pain. It was horrible, that getting reset. I cracked the back of my head open, like not the actual fracture or anything, just like a huge split that they literally glued my head back together, and I actually stuck to the pillow when they glued me together. There's going to be a lot of medical neglect that I bring up as well, but the fact that I'm describing all of this and you may be thinking, wow, that sounds absolutely horrific, and yeah, it was. Would you believe me if I said that I didn't even spend a single night in hospital? They sent me home pretty much straight away. I was in hospital for all of less than 4 hours. I think it was about 3.5, my parents said. And I was told to go home and sleep it off, which anyone who knows anything about concussion protocol knows no, that's not what you're supposed to do. And I was definitely concussed because the only memory I have is waking up on the road after it happened and trying to push myself up, not understanding why I was on the ground. And when obviously you have a shattered collarbone that you don't know anything about and you try to push yourself up, I fell back down and hit my head again, doing more damage. All of that was marvellous. So yeah, that sucked. I literally couldn't function for weeks. I couldn't really go to the toilet by myself. I struggled to eat. I struggled to walk. I struggled to leave the bed. I struggled to do anything. I was in the most depressed place of my entire fucking life, to say the least. It was rough. It was really bad. And all of it was made worse by the fact that because I'd shattered my collarbone, I couldn't really hold a controller. Now, if you've ever seen a Nintendo 64 controller, what I'm about to tell you is the damned honest truth here. I managed to beat Ocarina of Time using my nose for the face buttons. They literally were face buttons for me. I was able to use the Z button, or Z button, however you want to say it, and the analog with my left hand. And whenever I got anything where I needed to do combat, or roll, or do anything like pull out a slingshot or anything, I obviously don't have that, so I can't show it at the moment, but anything like that, at that time though it was a bow and arrow because it was Adult Link, I literally had to use the face buttons to actually control the game. And for weeks, it was the only thing that I could do. It kept me sane. I took a lot longer playing this game than I took playing anything, I think, because I needed it. So this was one of the first games where I really didn't rush it. I knew as much as I replayed the hell out of games, I didn't want to rush this because I needed Ocarina of Time at that moment in time. I really needed my escape, and this was the only thing I could do for the escape. I would literally climb out of bed on a morning, struggle into the room where the N64 was, and boot it up, and then sit and basically play throughout the entire day. I'd have all my food up there. I'd just do whatever I could, staying the hell away from everyone. As much as I didn't have a new friend group, I still had the old friend group, but only one of them came to actually see me, so I never really had much to do friend-wise. I didn't really have anything else to do anyway, so I just sat and played the crap out of Ocarina of Time. I discovered probably every secret by myself. This was the time when guides didn't really exist, at least not easily, so I didn't really have any guides showing me how to get all of the Skulltulas, showing me how to get all of the heart pieces and that, how to beat all of the side quests. It was a case of just figure it all out myself. So that's all I would do, sit and play day after day after day, figuring it all out. And this game definitely saved my life, because as much as people can use video games to get through a lot of things, I truly... Okay, I can't believe that just happened. I'm gonna cheat. That never happened. I truly think that I had set myself up to the most perfect part of the game without realizing it. Because for anyone who has never played this game before, I wish I could actually show you, well, get you to hear the music, but I obviously don't have a save file set up for that. Because, as I say, I was up to the Forest Temple, which is the first temple when you're an adult. And I put that temple on. First thing, coming back from this horrific accident, for the first thing I'd played in weeks. And the music just got me. For anyone who's heard the music, you might know what I'm about to say, but this is one of those moments where art truly did save my life, because I was listening to the music of the Forest Temple, and I'm like, I'd never heard anything like that before, and I was sitting thinking, what is it about this piece of music? What is it about this specific piece of music that's resonating? And then I realised, and as much as there's episodes of TV that can say things, and sometimes people like to go at characters, there's something that Lisa Simpson says in an episode of The Simpsons that I never understood until this piece of music. She was describing with jazz. To be fair, maybe it wasn't jazz, maybe it was a violinist, and I might be getting two episodes mixed up because I know she went into jazz with Bleeding Miss Murphy. Basically, she said it's not about listening to the notes that are there, it's about listening to the notes that aren't there, and I didn't understand what the hell she meant until I listened to the Forest Temple music. And I'm listening to that music and I'm like, this is hauntingly beautiful. Why is it so hauntingly beautiful? What is it about it? And then I realised it's because this piece of music is clearly missing notes. The music is broken. It's just... there's something not right with it. It's broken. And that's where the beauty lies with the music. You listen to it and you start hearing where you think the music's going to go, but it never does because the notes are missing, and it just makes the entire piece of track, like the piece of music, so hauntingly beautiful. And that was the first part of it. And as I'm going through the dungeon, for anyone who knows the dungeon will know the twisted hallways. So I've already got this kind of repairing my brain, helping me through some of the PTSD that was forming, because it's impossible to not get PTSD when you get hit by a car as a kid. Like, the statistics are... I'm not saying it isn't impossible, but it's highly unlikely. It's something like 83% of children who have this happen to them get PTSD. The fact that I also have stuff that I'm not going to go into, I've already mentioned the familial problems. I grew up next to a drug den. That is legitimate. I have complex PTSD. My brain is all kinds of scrambled. It's no wonder I have severe headaches, not just from the accident, but from all of that as well. So anyway, I already had the music hitting and resonating and feeling that something that broken could still be beautiful, something that broken could still serve a purpose. You then get to the twisted hallway part, and the entire part of that dungeon, the entire crux of the dungeon, is quote-unquote fixing the twisted hallways to be able to actually get where you're going and solve the temple, solve the puzzles, solve where you have to go. But there's then a part of the dungeon where actually fixing it isn't the answer, and it's only when you walk through the twisted version that you can then get to your destination. And all of that was resonating so much. I already had the hauntingly beautiful broken music and the broken hallways that actually weren't broken, that were serving a purpose. That entire thing resonated me in such a way that genuinely it allowed me to realise that just because my entire life has completely changed and will never be the same again, I'd been removed from school at this point, I'd had a full mental breakdown at this point, probably not surprisingly. Just because all of this change had happened didn't mean that things were going to be bad. They were just going to be different, and I'm not going to say I've had a great life. I truly haven't. The hits keep on coming type thing. I was told by many doctors that basically my life was over when it was over, that I'd never be able to work, which has been proven true. I have the most horrific sleep issues and pain issues, and like daily, I am constantly baked on on medical marijuana. I am so glad that that finally got legalized in this country, because it allowed me to actually drop a load of weight that a load of meds that they put me on for all of this caused. It's great when you go to your doctors and you actually, again, with some of the medical neglect here, like you go to your doctor and you say, listen, the meds you put me on have caused severe weight gain, which he did, like when he put me on them, he did say that was a possibility. They're not working, they're only putting weight on. I want to go on to marijuana, and the dude's like, no, that's dangerous. Instead, how about one of these 3 drugs? All 3 of them had a side effect, potential chance of death. I'm like, are you genuinely telling me that you think marijuana is more dangerous than 3 things that you've just prescribed to me that could cause death? So yeah, but it finally did get legalized. It finally did, I finally did get on it. I finally managed to drop some weight, and it allowed me to help repair my brain as well a little bit. Hasn't really fixed the sleep cycle or anything, but it's allowed me to function a little bit more in society. I'm still unable to work completely. There's probably people who sit there thinking, but you can record a YouTube video, and it's like, yeah, you have no idea how long it took to record 1 hour-long video, which I'm assuming this is going to be about an hour. And the fact that I have spent genuinely 2.5 months putting up the last hour-long video that went up, that's not sustainable. It's not as if I could make a living off doing 1 YouTube video every 2.5 to 3 months. I've set a lofty goal by saying I'm going to try and do 1 every month, and I don't even think that's going to be possible. So yeah, it's life is fun. But getting back to Ocarina, that dungeon was the start. It was the start of my healing. It was the start of me finally getting to function again as a person. It was the start of me actually having an interest in something and no longer just spending all day in bed depressed, assuming that my entire life was over. And I went from the Forest Temple to the Fire Temple to the Water Temple, and then this is going to break some people's brains, because this is something that I've discovered over a long time on this planet. Loads of people like to think this game's linear, except this is the first Zelda where it's not fully linear. You could actually make a choice going to 2 different dungeons after you do the Water Temple, and I have, for the longest time, was absolutely sure you had to do the Spirit Temple, then the Shadow Temple, because of the way the game flows. You go through, you're told that you can't see through the desert without a lens, without an item, which you then go to Kakariko Village, get something called the Lens of Truth, and it allows you to see through the desert, so you then do the Spirit Temple, and then you head back to Kakariko, which has then been set on fire, and then you do the Shadow Temple. The order of events of that just makes perfect sense to me, and then I found out that actually there's a lot of people who say, no, you go get the Lens of Truth, you leave, then Kakariko sets on fire, then you go do the Shadow Temple, then you do the Spirit Temple, and it's like, I genuinely didn't even know that was a thing. But yeah, so I went through the rest of the game, got all of the art pieces, all of the gold sculptures, all of the great giant paws, I think they're called. It's been a while since I've actually replayed this game. I've been intentionally avoiding it because it's definitely hopium, but the fact that there's so many people out there who have really, 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 really loved this Final Fantasy VII remake. And then Resident Evil 4 came around, and Resident Evil 4 did a full remake that was totally from the ground up and a reimagining. Why the hell hasn't Nintendo done this with Ocarina of Time? And also, why hasn't Game Freak done it with Pokemon Red and Blue? I feel like those could be mega winners. Just rebuilding the game from the ground up on the Breath of the Wild engine and the Scarlet Violet engine, whatever those engines are actually called. You could just do so much. And I kind of live in hope that eventually that's happening, because Eiji Aonuma, who made this game, kind of will be retiring at some point. And I feel if there's ever a time for him to remake his masterpiece, it's now, because Tears of the Kingdom kind of ended things, ended the story. So, just putting that out there in the universe. If you ever want to remake these games, please do. But yeah, and for the longest time, because Ocarina had genuinely saved my life. This has been my favourite video game for the longest time, until actually Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom came out, but we'll get to those videos when we get to those videos. So, instead I'm going to say, and it's because, like, that is genuinely the sentence. I know that might sound odd. Ocarina was my favourite video game because even as a YouTuber then started to kind of say some stuff that I wish I had the article still. It was something that I read in a magazine that no longer exists, and it resonated so much with me, but in a way that I didn't even realise, because Zelda is definitely one of the reasons that I always knew that I was non-binary. I just didn't know the word for it, because I, for the longest time playing this game, did not realise that Link was actually wearing a skirt, and that people were, like, pissed about this, going, why has Link got a skirt? And it's like, IG was, I'm probably saying that really badly as well. It might be EG or AG. Like, I genuinely am terrible with pronunciation of a lot of things anyway, let alone names that I don't natively see or get a lot of exposure to. But he went on the record with saying part of his hints as to the fact that Link was not a Kakiri is he wanted to make sure that Link wore the hats of the male Kakiri and the skirts of the female Kakiri. And it's like, that was just, Link was Link. And when I look back on the older games as well, Link with pink hair, which is a canonical thing, and I'm like, yeah, so Link has pink hair, what's the issue here? Like, yeah, Link has been a mood with my gender identity my entire life, and like, even more so with the later games, like with Breath of the Wild, yeah. So anyway, those videos will happen when they happen. So, basically, on top of saving my life, at a time when I really, really needed it, this has always been a comfort game that's always been able to resonate with me in so many different ways that I didn't even realise, and it allowed me to appreciate it more and more and more the more I grew up, and I knew I'd messed that up, but thankfully we're cheating today. Right. There we go. So yeah, I don't really know where I'm kind of going with this, because this is the problem with making natural videos where I don't do a script or anything. I've kind of told what I think was all of the story, and I've even tried to come up with that with side stories or anything, and I think I'm kind of at the point of being done. But I'm also enjoying playing, and like I did mention that I wanted to try and beat this dungeon before the video was done, so it's why I've kind of been elongating it. But unfortunately, I think I am at the point now where unless something hits me in very quick succession here, not succession, unless inspiration strikes me very quickly here, I think this is episode 1 done. So hopefully this is an okay format. Genuinely, it's like, until I start getting feedback, I'm not going to know. And all I can say is, I think it's went well enough. I don't think I've forgotten any important information. And what I will say, and this isn't so much elongating the video, it is actually the stuff that I remembered I wanted to do anyway, because what with this being the first video, I now kind of need to do a little bit of housekeeping. Because the whole goal of this channel is to talk about stuff that people maybe don't talk about. And at the same time, though, I understand for a lot of people this might be one of their favourite games for positive reasons. Not these aren't positive reasons. I think the fact that saying that I'm only alive because of this game is definitely a positive, you know? It's just one of those things of, you don't have to have a depressing story or anything, but where I'm essentially going with this is, I would really, really like it if you do have a story of what this game means to you, of what is important for you. This isn't, I'm not saying this to boost engagement for anyone who genuinely doesn't know who I am or what I do in videos. I don't care about making money from this because I'm never going to make money from this. I don't care about the whole click like, click subscribe, leave a comment. All of that stuff that YouTubers for some reason used to lie about, and it never made sense when I used to do YouTube, that people were like, oh, like, I don't have a reason for you to click it. Like, yes, you do. You do. Just tell the truth. It boosts engagement. It boosts you on the algorithm. It, like, everyone knows this. Don't act like your audience is stupid. Just tell the truth. The hilarious part is as well, I am the cheerleader for so many different channels. I am the person who yells "smash that like" dorks on other channels because I care about them and I want their channels to grow on that. But with my own channel, I'm just doing this to try to help people. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, the more people well, yes, that's true. The more people it reaches, the more chance I've got of actually helping people. But at the same time, I don't care if you're posting for engagement. I'm not saying it for that reason. I just genuinely want to know if you have a story of what this game means to you, if be it a story similar to mine, like it helped you in a dark time or something, or be it a story of, no, this, I actually had a happy childhood and this was one of the reasons why. You know, I want you to kind of engage and post it, because eventually, and it's something that I'll definitely have to revisit, eventually, maybe several months, even a year down the line, I would like to go through a load of videos, however many I've put up by that point, and just grab like maybe 1 or 2 stories from the Ocarina video, 1 or 2 stories from Tears of the Kingdom. Like I don't know what videos specifically I'm going to be making at this point, but I would like to go through and grab stories and basically do a, not so much a Q&A, but a fan read it out thing, where it's like, I'm going to read this person's story about this game, you know, because the whole point with coming back to YouTube, the world's kind of in a terrible place. And I think a lot of people need some comfort places and some safe spaces, and talking about what games are getting you through like dark times is definitely all under the same encompassing thing. It's like the I can't remember the name of it now. I'm totally blanking. Venn diagram. There we go. It's like the Venn diagram of like the overlap of all the ideas I've got with this channel are actually overlapping, and I figure that they can kind of, for some people, everything I do is going, like, I don't mean this in a some people love me type thing, like the whole way to describe the Venn diagram that I'm trying to like imagine in my mind, I figure there's going to be some people that come for topic A, some people that come for topic B, some people that come for topic C, but then there's going to be some people where all of them, those overlap, and on top of that they also want to find a community, and that's where entering your own stories in, and then maybe we build towards a Discord where people can come in and people can actually get a bigger friend circle, essentially a bigger social circle, by going, hey, oh yeah, that video resonated with me for this reason, and like you're talking to other people and maybe, you know, just actually hang out essentially and do the usual that people now do on YouTube. As much as I never wanted to just follow what other people did, that's the way my channels have always been. Like, even when I first started, I was doing stuff that other people weren't. There are some things that have definitely cropped up with why I wanted to come back to YouTube, and I think connecting with people and basically being emotional, being vulnerable, like seeing my story and then trying to get other people to see theirs and trying to build a community around it felt like a really good idea. So I am glad that I've covered this on this episode as well, because I definitely think adding this to the end of every episode would be cumbersome, to say the least. It would definitely pad run times, and it would definitely make for less interesting viewing. But if there is anything at all that you want to say, be it about the video, like, this is when I get to the point where it does sound like just regular engagement farming type thing, just, yeah, talk about the video, then you can do. I'm not, like, disparaging that, but for the most part, I would like to hear / read your stories. I can't promise I'll read everyone. Again, chronically ill, a lot of health issues, there's a lot of things that take up time in my life as a result, like just literally doing my daily chores and everything like that. With all of the pain that I'm in, I can take an exorbitant amount of time to do the most basic things. Something that might take you 2 minutes would take me upwards of 3 or 4 hours. It's just the way my life is, sadly. So I can't guarantee that I will always be able to read or respond to absolutely everything. I used to do that on my old channel, like, well, it's the same channel, all those videos are still up, but I used to do that. I used to make it a point of pride to try to always read everything and connect with people. I can't promise that anymore, I'm afraid, but either way, oh crap, I've just realised I've messed that up. It's 231 is the password, so why am I just on autopilot? But either way, I have managed to stretch this out to the point that I can actually at least finish this temple, I think. It's been a while since I've defeated Gorma. It really has been, so hopefully I can do this. And I know this is now essentially not the most entertaining thing, but that's where the beauty of turning videos off comes in. Because thinking about it this way, I am done the video now. I'll probably find some way to keep talking and keep rambling so that it's not just like silence while I do this. But for those genuinely, for some reason, who are interested and want to see me defeat Gorma, I will go and defeat Queen Gorma, which I do actually have a plushie named after Gorma. That's something that I can actually spend 15 minutes hyperfixating on, because one of my favourite video game creators, American McGee, and his wife basically made a bunch of plushies to raise awareness for a load of stuff. They've got autism, they've got ADHD, they've got mental health disorders, they've got physical health disorders, they've got characters that they create, they've got characters from some of his actual games. Like, it's just one of those things that I will never be sponsored by them. It's why I'm not even mentioning the name. Like, I've mentioned American McGee and his wife to the point of you can Google if you're that interested. But yeah, I absolutely love those things, and I have a plushy bun that I named after Queen Gorma because look at her, she's amazing. I'm definitely not doing speedrunner strats. I know fine well there's something like you're supposed to charge up the sword in a certain way, and I don't even mean the spin attack. I mean you have to like queue stacked damage thing so that you can do a jump and kill her in one hit or something. That's not going to be me. As much as I do actually speedrun games, I don't do the glitch things. I've never been... I think it's weird that I'd rather speedrun the game in a vanilla state, I think, than spend the time looking up how to do all of the glitches, because they take so much time and practice and effort, and I never commit to speedrunning a game long enough to the point that it's worth learning those glitches, because I get so sick of playing a game for that long. So I definitely commend people who do it. I cannot believe I used to actually be so accurate with this slingshot whilst using my nose, and now whilst using my hands I'm missing most every shot, and I can't even blame like concentration. It's just that, holy crap, how did I ever used to be able to aim on this game? I don't know if it's a frame rate thing, if I'm just used to smoother aiming on newer games, but wow am I inaccurate with this. Either way though, I'm hoping this is enough. There we go, to actually finish it. There we go. And with that, I think the episode is done. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you find it helpful, and hopefully you can actually engage and like post a story essentially. And if you do, please do include if you'd be fine with it being read out, because obviously I've shared some personal stuff and I understand not everyone might want to. Hell, maybe you might want to say I've posted this but like don't read out my name or anything. Again, these videos are going to be very, very far in the future, and also so much for me saying an hour. I don't know if that's a time blindness thing or if I just managed to condense this without waffling into oblivion, but yeah, I've actually managed to keep it under 35 minutes. And with that, though, I think I finally have said everything I need to say. So, yeah, for now, this has been episode 1 of Video Game Story Time with Sky Fellowship. And until the next one, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.